Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for a review on the Hot Toys Iron Man Mark 6. Now this is the diecast figure that was released really recently, and thank you so much to Anto for hooking me up with this figure. I buy a lot of stuff off Anto and he's a good mate of mine. Check out his store at SciFi Toys. I'll put the link in the description so you guys can check it out. Now before we get into the review, I just want to quickly mention an event that I'm actually helping to plan. So in Melbourne, in Australia, that's where I live, we're actually organising an event called the 1/6 Australia Swap Meet. So it's going to be an event where you can buy, sell, trade 1/6 scale figures and more. So we'll be looking at 1/12 figures, 1/4 figures, anything like that. Basically anything collectible you'll be able to buy, sell and trade. We're also trying to get cosplayers involved. Basically what's going to happen is I'm going to put the event page in the description and you guys can check it out. If it's something you're interested in, definitely come along. Now back to the review, guys. This is the diecast Mark 6 figure. So basically Hot Toys a couple of years ago decided they were going to be re-releasing all of the Hall of Armor figures, and they were going to be doing it in diecast. So this is another entry into that line. So we've got the Mark 6 here, we got the Mark 5 recently, and the 2 and 4 will be coming out this year. And the 4 is going to be coming with that gantry piece if you get the deluxe set. Now I don't think I'm going to be getting the gantry set, but I think I'm going to have to go down this rabbit hole and pick up the Hall of Armor. Now fingers crossed that they do a Mark 1 and a Mark 7, but that remains to be seen. But either way, enough rambling on. I'll get all of his accessories out here and we'll take a look at everything he comes with. So this diecast Mark 6 comes with a ton of accessories, and I love all these battle damage pieces that he comes with. Now, if there was one gripe, it'd be the fact that I wish this was more Avengers-specific battle damage. I know that's a little bit weird me saying that, but these sort of gashes are from Iron Man 2 when he was fighting Whiplash, and you can see that there's bullet marks from when he was fighting the hammer drones and also slashes from Whiplash. And you can see that it attaches with pegs. I wish this was magnetic, just because I'm a bit worried that these really thin pieces of plastic are going to snap off in the figure, and that would be a real dilemma. And you can also see the battle damage on this faceplate. This faceplate is removable, and it does have the detail in there as well, so you can use it on the Robert Downey Jr. head sculpt, which is what I actually have on the figure, and I'll show you guys that when I get the figure out here. But still terrifically done. You can see that there's a nice level of wear and chipping throughout the whole piece. It looks really terrific. Now he does come with a bunch of hands. These ones are the articulated ones. I usually pop these on the figure, but I've got him in a pose that doesn't really require these at the moment. You can see that they all have the wrist gauntlets attached and they are articulated, and these hands look really terrific. They've also got a nice level of painted wear on it as well. You can see the scratching on the surface, really well done. Now another additional piece that you can use to make his fully weaponized mode are these wrist gauntlets with the laser bit attached, and you can take the laser and you can plug them in. Now these are keyed in a specific way, and you can shove them in like that, and then he's got his laser beam, which is really excellent. So if you remember from Iron Man 2, they were sort of a one-off weapon that he could use, and War Machine obviously said to him, why didn't you use those earlier? Now he does also come with these missile pod accessories which can attach to his shoulders, and they are articulated. So this is not like the plastic figure that came out a couple of years ago where those pieces can actually pop up and they are stored in the actual armor itself. Now he does come with these little missile pieces as well, and I will pop these on the figure if I can, and I'll just show you what it looks like all armored up. Now these are the bits that actually goes around his wrist, and they can all just attach as well. I wish they were magnetic. Those would be really awesome if they were magnetic, but you can see that they've got the little pieces in there, and they do come numbered as well, so you know this is for the left side if you're worried about that. Now he also does come with this helmet if you get the exclusive version, which is the one that I actually ended up getting. And it does light up, and you can see that it's got a nice blue light throughout the entire thing. Looks really terrific. The eyes obviously don't light up, but I guess this is to replicate when he takes the helmet off, and also sort of when Pepper was looking at the helmet in Iron Man 3. I guess this is a bit of a throw-in piece, but not essential. I would say don't really pay extra to pick this piece up unless you really want it. But yeah, it's just another helmet. You can see how that compares to the standard Iron Man helmet. It's a little bit brighter, the gold, and obviously the lines are a lot bigger because they've got to incorporate that lighting gimmick. Now what I'll do is I'll get all this stuff out here and I'll bring the base in, because the base is another terrific accessory. One of the most awesome accessories that this guy comes with is this diorama style base. Now this is meant to replicate that bit on Stark Tower when obviously in Avengers he lands in the Mark 6, this piece comes up and these arms actually pop out and remove the suit from him. That is such an awesome detail by Hot Toys, and they really didn't need to throw this in. I mean, they could have put in just a standard display base like they were doing with the other diecast figures, but they went all out on this one. And there is a switch on the back which you can use to put the lights on the steps, and that is just absolutely amazing. And you can see the level of detail in the steps around the sides here, and this is a nice sort of textured finish as well. It looks really, really great. And I know it's not in scale technically for the figure, it's a little bit of that forced perspective sort of thing, but I think it looks really, really cool. And it also does come with the point there so you can plug in the pole so he doesn't obviously fall over on the display base. Now there is one complaint that I have with this. It would be that you cannot plug in an AC adapter and have this powered 24/7, because I would love to have these lights on all the time, but as it is, the A3 batteries that I popped in there I don't think will last very long at all, unfortunately. But it does look really, really awesome, and I love the bit where the arms can come out as well and look like they're detaching the suit from Tony. Really, really excellent. Now what we'll do is we'll get the figure out here and we'll take a look at the head sculpt. I have to say, Hot Toys have absolutely nailed it once again with this die-cast Iron Man figure. Now, this isn't one that I was thinking I was ever going to be picking up, but after seeing Infinity War, I decided to go all out on the Avengers, and I went back and collected the entire first Avengers line, and I picked up this guy to add to that detail as well. He looks really, really terrific, and they've just hit it out of the park with this guy. Now, I'll show you the Tony Stark head sculpt. Now, I'm pretty sure this is a re-release of that Arc Reactor Creation set Tony head sculpt. It looks really, really awesome, and it does look pretty similar to that head sculpt that comes with that Tony, which is not bad at all. It's a couple of years old now, but it still looks really, really on point. Now, this obviously has magnets in it as well, and you can attach it to the top of the helmet to get that look as well, where he's got the helmet on top of his head, which is what he does in the film a couple of times. So really, really awesome, and it just slots back in there as well. So terrific detail on this piece. Now, I will quickly show you another piece that can actually pop out, and it's these missile pieces here. They look really, really awesome, and it can go into that sort of fully armored, fully weaponized version, which I will show you how to attach all the pieces to later. And just, I'm speechless. I mean, this figure is really, really terrific, and just as I'm rotating him, I can feel all the die cast in the figure, all in the legs and the arms. It's really, really awesome, and I'll quickly show you the flaps as well. So they are fully articulated, and they can pop up just like you saw in the film. Really, really amazing, and they've got a lovely level of detail underneath those flaps as well. Now, the only complaint that I really have is the fact that he's a bit of a pain to stand, just because he is so heavy and the joints really sometimes do struggle under the weight. But, you know, he's a die-cast figure. What do you expect? He's really, really awesome. Now, I'll zoom down a little bit and I'll show you the rest of the armor. So having a look at this torso section, you can see that it's got this lovely gold sort of pinstriping, which is really, really accurate to the Mark 6 and the Mark 4 as well. Now, I didn't actually realize until I watched a video quite recently on, I think, Xenomorph's channel, when he was saying that the Mark 4 is basically just the Mark 6 with a different color scheme and a different arc reactor. And now that I look at it, he's 100% correct. That is exactly what happened with the Mark 4 and Mark 6. They're exactly the same suit. They're just different paint schemes, which is really, really interesting and something that I didn't notice before. Now, unlike the plastic suit, the flare pieces do not pop out on any of the die-cast figures, as far as I'm aware at least, but they still look really, really awesome. Now, the articulated wrist gauntlets, like I showed you before in the accessories, they are also attached to the fists as well, and they look really, really cool. I mean, this whole piece is just so heavy, so well painted, and so excellently done. Now, I'll zoom down a little bit and I'll show you the excellent paintwork on the legs. So the paintwork on the legs is equally well done. I mean, they've done a terrific job throughout this entire piece, but I quickly wanted to show you one of the coolest pieces, which is this pop-up sort of inner workings piece that sits behind the leg there, and you can sort of see, I'll see if I can focus it up there, you can see the pistons in there as well, which is just terrific. I don't think any of the other die-cast figures so far, maybe the Mark III, which I don't actually have yet, but I will be picking up, maybe that actually has it on there as well, but really, really awesome. And all of the leg pieces are all die-cast, which is really, really terrific and helps sort of stabilize the figure. If not for the loose joints, in terms of, you know, this being really heavy and the joints not being able to cope with them. If the joints were just a little bit tighter, this guy would be a really, really solid, excellent piece to have posed up. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get all the interchangeable bits out here, and we'll do a bit of a switch to the fully weaponized Mark 6. Pop off the head, pop on the battle-damaged head, take off the chest piece, pop on the battle-damaged chest piece, pop off the wrist, pop on the laser firing wrist, pop off the magnetized shoulder piece, pop on the rocket pack, flip up the rockets on the side, pull off all of these extra pieces that have been slotted on to his arms. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Pop on the rocket firing versions. And there you have him with all of his armored bits all displayed on the figure. It looks really, really terrific. Now, I left this one side clean on purpose. Don't worry, I didn't forget, just so you can see the difference between the fully armored up with all of the bits popping out version and also the completely clean side as well, which is really, really awesome. Now, I'm just going to go for the clean display in my details just because I think it looks a little bit sleeker, and I don't really like having all these weapons sort of out because he's not really in a fighting sort of display. He's just sort of standing there on his display base like he's just sort of landed on Stark Tower, which I think looks really, really awesome. Now, anyway, I'm going to get all this stuff taken off him again, and I'm going to get the Mark 7 out here and do a bit of a comparison. So here we have it, the Mark 6 and Mark 7 displayed side by side. Now, I do have the battle damaged and the Tony Stark portrait on my Mark 7. That's just how I have him in my display. I literally grabbed him out of my display and brought him over here, but you can see the difference in terms of the paint. On this guy, it's just so much shinier. There's just more of a luster in the actual paintwork just because it is actually metal in most of the parts, which just, you can see the gold in the Mark 7 is just so much duller than that in the Mark 6, which is just a real testament to what Hot Toys has been able to do with this new figure. Now, a real complaint and a real annoyance that I have with the Mark 7 is these rubber joints. Now, mine is just starting to crack, so I've gotten some rubber protectant and I've actually sprayed it on there, but these new die-cast figures will never have that problem just because they're all either plastic or die-cast in the joints, which means they're not going to crack. I really hope the Mark 7 gets a die-cast release, and he is pretty much the most popular armor that Hot Toys have ever made. They have done tons and tons of repaints, tons and tons of different versions of this guy, and I think that he is definitely destined for the die-cast treatment. But you can see they're pretty much the same height. The Mark 7 just looks a little bit bulkier because of his shoulder pack pieces, but you can see they look really good together. And to be honest with you, in a display, you could really put these two together, especially if you're doing a Hall of Armor display, but I think that just shoving this guy in a Hall of Armor would be a real detriment to the figure because he is really destined to do some awesome poses, and I think he's going to look excellent in the display. Another thing that you won't have to worry about with this new one is the pink panty syndrome. You can see mine doesn't really have it. They're a little bit lighter just under these really harsh lights, but just in the display you can't really notice it. And to be honest with you, it doesn't really faze me too much. I mean, I can get those repainted if I really have to down the line. But either way, they look really awesome displayed together. I still love that piece, but this guy is my new favorite Iron Man armor in my collection. For another comparison, here is the Arc Reactor Creation Tony alongside the Mark 6. Now, I've obviously given him the Mark 6 helmet just because he's from Iron Man 2, and this is pretty much the scene where he creates the arc reactor to put into the Mark 6. So I think it's very, very fitting. You can see that there's a huge height difference between the Iron Man armor and Tony himself. I don't know if that's accurate because he's wearing some pretty big boots. So I guess he gets a little bit taller, but I didn't know he got that much taller. But either way, you can see that they look really, really good displayed together. Just to wrap up on the Mark 6 diecast. Now, I think this is a really, really excellent release by Hot Toys and another great entry into the diecast series. I'm super happy with how it turned out. I love the Diorama display base. I've said time and time again, when they come with these display bases, I love them. It just puts them in that scene, and I really love scene-specific accessories. It just looks really terrific, and the light-up effect is just great. And the figure itself just hits it out of the park compared to that original plastic Mark 6. I think they've absolutely nailed it. So if you can find this guy, he is still available at some Zing pop culture stores. I think the one in High Point actually still has one. That's where I was going to pick it up, but I actually got it off my mate Anto instead. Definitely check out his site. I'm sure he still has some available as well at SciFi Toys. I'll put the link in the description. And also do check out the event that I'm helping to plan, the 1/6 Australia Swap Meet. It's going to be a really, really awesome event and just a fun time in general. So definitely bring your friends and family along to that. So that's about it, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned to my channel for more video reviews. We are trying to get to 1,000 subs on the channel, and I might do some sort of a giveaway for that as well. So stay tuned for the details of that. And thank you so, so much for the support on my Black Widow video. I'm so happy with the progress it's actually been making. I know that I was the first to put the video up on YouTube, and I'm so happy that you guys just really gave me your support, and I really enjoyed the Keyboard Warriors video as well, so good job, guys. And thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Stay tuned for the next video. I'll catch you in the next review.